Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Speed Build Saturday. I know I'm a week late with this, but to be honest, last week I was just feeling a little bit under the weather earlier on in the week, and then the holiday came and went, and I was super busy, but I at least got the Occult Baby Challenge up last week, so, you know, it is what it is. But this week, what should have been last week, we are making a whole homestead for the kind of autumny season. I wanted this to be like a last hurrah for October, but here we are, it's November, it is what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead, finish up the floor plan, and then I will get back to you guys in just a minute. And then I think, again, with this build, I kind of went a little ham on the roof and I really took my time with it just to get it to look exactly the way I wanted it to. But I really do like how it turns out in the end, even if I did have to play around with it a lot to get it exactly how I wanted it to be. And then here, I'm actually doing something a little bit complicated. I'm resizing windows to make the entire wall disappear above this little porch space. And then I'm using a bunch of debug objects to kind of make it look more like that craftsman kind of roofing style where you can just see the beams. And then I'm actually going to imitate that around on each of those little pointed rooftops too. And to be clear, I don't have the tool mod or anything just because I really haven't taken the time to get used to how it works exactly. So you can do this with just the move objects cheat and then the show hidden objects and show live added objects cheats in build mode. But once I finished up dolling up all the roofs, I went ahead and laid down some floor tile, popped some windows onto the house to try to get an idea of what they were going to look like from the inside, so I could kind of design around that, because I know sometimes the windows can get a little sloppy if you don't do them first. After I lay down a couple key pieces outside, I'm gonna move inside and start laying down the beds, which kind of will give me the idea of the color scheme that I wanna work with for those rooms. And I decided I wanted to have a teen's bedroom, a master suite, and then also a children's room that can sleep two. And then I actually haven't really used a whole lot of stuff from the cottage living pack, so I really loved getting to use it in this kitchen and for just this whole house. I really like how a lot of it is. It's really cute. It reminds me a lot of like my aunt's house growing up, because she like lived way outside of town, you know, raised farm animals and stuff like that. So a lot of the stuff seems kind of familiar to me. And then I figured a house like this would have an entire laundry room just because of the kind of farm lifestyle. You're bound to get dirty raising animals and growing crops and stuff like that. So you might as well have an entire room of the house dedicated to doing the laundry for that. And then moving back into the main living space of the house, I'm going to work in the dining room, and I really wanted like a nice big area to entertain guests and just have everybody in the family sit. So I ended up mashing two dining tables together just to get more seats. And then I figured I would stick with the red cabinets just because I liked them so much. Moving on to the living room, I decided to have an indoor fireplace, and then I really just can't help myself from hanging a TV on the fireplace. And then I think I end up getting rid of one of these chairs in the final build, but I tried to make it really kind of close and cozy so that you could easily just have a couple people sitting around the fire having a nice night and some good conversation. Now with the basics done for the entire open living space, I'm gonna go ahead and just paint the walls and add a little bit more decor to the walls themselves and then around the house just to make it feel a little bit more lived in. I end up moving that bookshelf and changing the door around to make room for a cat tree later, but now we are into the teens bedroom. And I tried to get out of my comfort zone a little bit with this bedroom because I personally hate yellow, but I do end up just kind of toning it down a bit, using a little bit more of a neutral yellow instead of something so bright. But I wanted this room to be really warm and kind of inviting for, you know, just somewhere to kind of crash and just let it all out after a stressful day at school. So by the end of this room, it actually ends up having an entire like little play space, a desk where they can play games along with a TV and a radio and all that fun stuff so that they can really relax once they get home. And then doing this bathroom, I swear this shower gets me into trouble with all of its fun swatches for the curtains because I ended up matching the entire room to it with green floors and yellow walls, which is super colorful, but I kind of really like it. And then speaking of colorful, we're gonna stick to it in this blue and orange room. I almost went with like a totally blue room, but I decided it was a little much, so I added a white floor and then a pretty red and orange rug. And please try to tell me that you wouldn't have loved to grow up in this room, because I know I would have. And then moving on to the master suite, I kind of just picked out some things that I thought were cozy and kind of the vibe that I wanted to go for in here. And then I just kind of moved everything around until I was happy with where stuff was. And then I actually ended up changing the whole room for the kids' room, the teens' room, because I really only wanted this wallpaper in this bedroom. And I wanted to go for a kind of lived in and used master bedroom, so I laid down one of the new swatches of the yoga mats, put in an aquarium, and then I found these layered rugs that I just love so much because it really makes it feel like they're just trying to make it feel like their own in there. And then moving on to their master bathroom, they get both a standalone shower and a sit-down bathtub. I wanted to do a his and her sink kind of deal, but it was going to intersect with the doors, so I couldn't. But I ended up going with a nice light blue and kind of beige theme in here, and it turns out to be a really nice contrast compared to the rest of the house, so much so that I decided to stick with it for this skinny little walk-in closet. And you know, it might be a little bit of a skinny walk-in closet, but I know personally it's bigger than the walk-in closet that I don't have, so these Sims should be grateful either way. And for once, I finished furnishing the entire inside of the house before moving outside to the backyard and everything. So I'm going to work on an in-ground sort of greenhouse so that our family can grow crops all year round, whether it's chilly outside or not. You can have the highest grossing crops all year round in here, which I personally love, so I'm sure you guys will too. And then I decided I don't really like the animal sheds enough for the kind of vibe I was going for, so I'm building a custom little barn that should still be completely functional because the animal sheds shouldn't be blocked or anything like that. And then over here, I'm adding in an entire garden space so that you can have crops out in the yard all year round still, just like in the greenhouse, but these ones are going to be more seasonally active, so these will be the ones that you change and stuff, and there will always be some new fun colors outside, which I really like. And then I decided to take away all of the floor tiles in the animal enclosure and replace it with paint, just because it looked a little too perfect. And then I added fountains to be like drinking troughs almost, which I really like the look of. And then in front of the house, I'm going to do another little build trick with some floor pieces that I like to do. This makes it so that I'm sure that it's perfectly rounded just like I want it to be, and it's really nice to have just kind of a nice shape to work off of. And I'll be honest, I might have gotten a little debug happy with this build, but honestly, I just love so many of the things in this pack so much I couldn't help but use them. Like, how could I personally resist using fairy rings of mushrooms? I can't. It's that simple. And this house really does get all of the accoutrements you could ever want, really. You get a pool, you get a greenhouse, you get perfect little planters out in the front that I'm about to doll up and just make adorable with, yet again, more debug plants, but what can I say? I can't resist. And I decided early on I really wanted this truck, but I didn't decide until right this instant that I wanted it to look like it had been parked there, or that it's parked there often. So I added some terrain paint underneath of it to make it look like the ground was a little bit ripped up, and then I actually cut out as I painted around all of the edges of everything just to make it look not quite so plopped down as if it's a Sims game. But as I'm adding the last few finishing touches, you know, sneaking some of the animal hide holes into the trees, we're actually gonna hop back into game and do the tour, so I'll be back with you guys in just a sec. And here we are in game, and I think it just turned out spectacular, really. I tried to use the debug objects to really make it fit into Henford-on-Bagley, and I'm just in love with those weeping willow trees. I cannot get over them. But as we approach the front porch, we've got some planters filled with some local flora. And then as we go through the front door, we'll enter into this big open kitchen, living, dining room space. And oh, I'll have to make sure to get rid of that before I upload it. But anyway, we've got a cat tree, a fireplace, we've got a nice big center island in the kitchen, and a huge dining room. And then if we pop around the corner in the kitchen, there is a whole laundry room that leads out onto a more kind of private little tiny porch in the back. And then going back through the kitchen, I'm actually gonna go across the hall to the kids' rooms. And then on the left, we've actually got like a children's room. And I tried to stick with like orange and blue for this room, and I really think it turned out nice and bright and fun. But I really like it in here. And then going across the hall past the spooky doorless way to the basement, we go into more of like a teen's room. I got them a computer, they've got a closet, a whole TV stand, and then they even have their own door out into the lanai. And we've got another fireplace out here, and it also connects into the living room right by the cat tree. And then if we go across the way here across the just regular porch, we will go into the master suite, which is actually set back in that little alcove by the kitchen. And it's really cozy in here. I love how it turned out. And then they've actually got a whole bathroom to themselves, along with a skinny little walk-in closet. And then if we make our way back outside, there's actually a ton of stuff in the backyard too. We've got a pool right off of the back porch, and then over to the right-hand side of the backyard, we've got a little sunk in, kind of dug into the ground greenhouse. And I'm really gonna like it for when I play in this house because it's gonna make it easier to grow crops all year round. And then going back across the yard, we've got another weeping willow with a bird bath under it, and then a whole fenced in area for all of the farm animals. You can fit either 2 cows, a llama and a cow in the barn itself, and then you can have up to 12 chickens in here. And I really love that little well in there. But turning away from the little animal shack shed dealy, we turn around and we've got the closed in little garden space too, complete with a patchy. And then you can fit so many crops in here. It's kind of ridiculous, but I mean, we're in Henford-on-Bagley, we're gonna farm. And then if we come up here, we've got a cute little bike while leaning on the tree next to an old-timey kind of truck. And then that actually finishes it up. So leave a like if you liked it. Leave a comment down below with something you'd like to see me build in the future. Subscribe if you're new. And then as always, guys, have a good day. I'll see you later.